You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the April 22nd meeting of the Long Beach Park Board. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Hello, Maddie. Hello, Kendra. This is the April Parks Board meeting. I was not here at the last meeting, but I think the first order of business is really to approve the March minutes, which I approved over here. So I'll let you guys approve. I read through them all here, and that's good. I'm making a motion to approve minutes.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right. Still not gonna get a quorum on you guys. Trust you. All right. Let's go through the agenda. We don't have Janice here today. She was on vacation or something. So I will pass over to Addie. Thanks for joining. Good to see you.
Good to see you guys too. I'm glad I was finally able to make it in here so I could share.
Yes, let's talk about summer camp. Where you guys at? I see you're working with still a little bit.
Yeah, we've made quite a bit of progress, which is good. We've set the dates for summer camp. So summer camp will begin on June 16th and it will run through August 1st, and then having July 3rd and 4th off for the holiday. We have set up all of our themes for the week. We had received a grant that was submitted by the police department to do a safety week with the kids. So we've set that up as well. We'll be doing some activities that promote bike safety, water safety, first aid, all those kinds of things with the kids. That'll be July 7th through the 11th. So we're really looking forward to that. I'm working with Kayla on getting that set up, what kind of activities we're going to do and whatnot. So that'll be embedded into camp. They'll be coming and doing some activities with the kids. So looking forward to that. That's new this summer. I think it'll be really great. The kids will really like that. So I'm looking forward to that. In terms of like hiring process, we have 3 directors returning. Our art director, Nikki Lamb, is coming back. Our activities director, Amber Large, is coming back. And our PE director, Bianca Salgado, is also coming back. I have hired Bailey Laux to fill the science director position this year. She's been a counselor for the camp for quite a few years, so she kind of knows the ins and outs of it. And she's also a brand new teacher at Michigan City High School, so she's got some experience working and leading some kids. So I'm looking forward to having her start there. We have 4 counselors returning from last year, one of them being an assistant tennis coach. And then we actually just hired 3 more counselors just this week. So we're up to 7 right now, which is really good. We're shooting for the 12 range. We just had interviews on Saturday, actually, and we have 2 potentials. We're just waiting on some references to go through before we continue with that. So that's pretty much it in terms of camp. In terms of activities for Saturday Arts, I got into touch with Aaron and
So I just want to make sure that you're, is there anything about camp that you're worried about at this point? Because it's coming up quick. You're feeling good about being.
I mean, the only thing that I really had a question about was I had talked to Kayla about this and she wasn't sure. I had said one of our counselors was returning. He was the assistant tennis coach. Our head tennis coach is no longer working with us. She had to move on. So I was going to ask the assistant to step up so that we could have a head tennis coach. He's played tennis before and he has experience, but he's under 18. So I wasn't sure if he needed to be 18 in order to lead that or not.
I don't know. I doubt it. I don't know why they would.
I wouldn't see why it would be a problem. But I just want to clarify before I offer that position to anyone, or if we do need to find someone who is 18, that we also make sure that we get that done.
Is he 17 or how old is he?
I believe he's 17.
So who's head of the HR department then? Who would that question go to?
I'm on the HR committee, but I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head. I can look that up. There's an HR manual.
Okay.
So I can follow up with that.
So Cindy is in the audience here today. She's on the town council, so she's also on the liaison, I guess, the HR committee, so she's gonna check on it for you.
Okay,
But,
great.
We need to know, Cindy got mine, I got all the first.
I have a question, before you go, Mr. Billy.
Yeah,
Do we know when the dates are for the tennis? I remember last summer there was a bit of a misunderstanding or whatever. People not understanding that tennis was going to take place at certain times. If we could publicize that as early in advance as possible, I think that would be great.
Yeah, so I had spoken to Sarah about it. They will run Tuesday and Thursdays before camp, just like they always did. So they'll run Tuesday and Thursdays within that same time. So starting June 17th, and running through then. It'll coincide with camp. It'll just be Tuesday and Thursdays beforehand. So it'll start at 8 and then run until 8:45, 9 basically, and then they walk over to camp and join in then. Sarah had previously said that tennis fills up very, very quickly. So we'll post like a sign up on the Facebook page. And it'll be basically first come, first serve of filling the spots because we can only have so many with only two coaches. So
Okay, thanks. Can I just, what's the last day of camp?
the last day of camp is August 1st.
Thank you.
so I heard that right, 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, Tuesday and Thursday, the whole time that the camp's going. So we'll need that, that's a good point, because I know it was not a big issue, but there was an issue there. Yeah.
Well, I've been seeing that they're talking about doing stuff with the tennis courts, so I was wondering if that was gonna cause some conflict or not, so.
No, that's gonna be later, that we've already repaved them, not paved them, we fixed them and painted them last year. So
Okay.
the next year is gonna be a big.
Okay, yeah, so I guess the first day that we would be using them is, June 17th, and then the last day would be July 31st, so.
Okay. All right, thank you. We'll get that posted. So it sounds like you're feeling pretty comfortable and Sarah's been helping you, which is great. And you just gotta let us know if there's anything else that you need or you're feeling weird about ahead of time. And then are you gonna start publicizing? And I'm gonna help you with that. So I'm the guy that's posting all your stuff on Facebook, on my Facebook page.
Uh-huh.
And then that, Civic usually forwards that around and you can forward it around all yours and that gets a whole bunch of hits. So the sooner that you've got some kind of a flyer or something you want to get out, get that to me. You can get on the bulletin board out here. We can stuff in the feature. There's lots of things we can do to get that word out.
Okay, great. Sarah always said that she posted it June 1st. That was always her deadline of sending out, when people can sign up for camp, and that'll be the same day that we actually send out information to sign up for tennis too. So that gives them, plenty of time to sign up beforehand, but then also, come and sign up as it starts and as it goes, so.
Okay.
Sorry, when you sign up? June 1st.
June
That's what it
1st will be the day that it's officially posted for parents to sign their kids up.
And what was that date?
June
Oh, June 1st.
1st.
Thanks.
Matt, are you using the office in the community center that Sarah was using?
Sorry, I didn't hear that. Sorry.
Are you using the office in the community center or will you be using that office?
So as far as I know, yes, Sarah was supposed to take me in there sometime this month or next month, and trade off keys and kind of talk about what would work there and what wouldn't. Unless I need to be put somewhere else that wouldn't work if somebody needs to go in, but I think that was the plan, yes.
Okay, I have a bunch of materials, like vendor materials, camp supplies and stuff like that I was gonna drop off for you in there.
That'd be great.
Okay,
Appreciate that.
What's the total number of registrations that we can take for the camp?
Did you repeat that? Sorry.
How many children can we register for the camp?
So we don't really have like a max number. We really try to not hit like over 40 kids per age group just because, ratio of children to counselors. That's why my goal is to hit 12 counselors so that way we can have as many as we possibly can. We've never really told anybody no. And it just kind of comes and goes depending on the week. Some people sign their kids up for the whole summer. Some only sign up for a couple weeks here and there. So the numbers kind of change, but we've never actually had to turn anybody away. So.
Any other questions on camp? Sounds good, Maddie. You're doing good. So now we can talk about activities. Let's talk about activities.
So, First Saturday Arts, I had talked to Aaron and we were trying to set, up dates for that because I know everybody's kind of been wondering when that was going to start. Both of our schedules were kind of conflicting with, First Saturdays, and that seemed to be what everybody was going with. So as of right now, we do have a date set that we will start, the first Saturday of August, so August 2nd. I'll be reaching out to her in June to kind of set up what we're going to get started. And then information for that and registration for signing up for that will go up the 1st of July. So,
Okay, good. It'll be nice to have that back. So again, with that, I can help you publicize.
okay, great.
Okay, anything else?
That's all I've got today.
Any other questions?
No, thank you,
Thank you.
Randy.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Welcome to stay or you're welcome to take off. It's up to you. I won't be offended. All right, let's get on to then, stock landscaping and general upkeep, which is also part of the business really, but, landscaping, I guess, Paul will take that.
Well, just that general, landscaping, beach cleanup stop cleanup's been done, I believe, for every stop. We have received the new bench to take the place of the one that was damaged in the car crash. I believe that's in the building right now with doing the landscape to get that installed. They'll install that at stop 21, then we move to stop 21 that matches the one existing at stop 24. Get those reset, and we'll be back to normal for all stops and benches and stuff. So, yeah, that's that. Unless you want to talk about, the boardwalk.
Yeah, I'll get to that. I'll get to that in a business. And then you're using 2 or 3 companies on landscape?
Same 3 companies as last time.
Okay.
And, yeah, I'm trying to go in and just check out and make sure things are looking good.
Were they gonna fix there's one board on the bench at stop 23
3.
that, ooh, it's totally worked and sticks up.
Okay.
It's one right off the road.
No, but now that I know about that, I mean.
Thank you.
I've noticed that too, just keep getting the same thing.
Somebody tried to refer
Okay.
to, no, not.
Yeah, we'll look at that. Thanks.
Community Center Park, I don't think we've done anything here today to talk about that, but I missed a big piece of this last meeting, so I will wait for all of that.
The gist of it was, there was a good question whether there was a septic field in the area where they wanted to put it. And, upon in further investigation, there is, so it's just an unstarted application.
Okay.
So unfortunately, so I thought that was a pretty fun idea, but it's just not gonna work there.
So it was determined there
Yes,
is.
they thought it was the
Yeah, they thought it was in the program.
Yeah.
Yeah, it turns out somebody Public Works here in Long Beach used to work for DNM excavating company that did it and was involved in putting that in. So
Okay.
it's, yeah,
Done.
yeah, so if they can find another spot, that'd be great. But, unfortunately, it's not there.
Are they wanting it to be here, like that here somewhere?
I mean, at this point, I think anywhere in town, probably, this would be great, it's central, accessible.
And sorry, some gets it, there's other spots we added.
Exactly. Yeah, that's some, that's, right,
Okay, well, does that, they have that information?
yes.
All right, anything about Moon Valley?
No, some people had reached out, willing to help with cleanup day. I'm trying to work with Janice to get in touch with some experts who know how to do cleanup day and how to maintain trails and stuff, because I don't know how to do that. What I would really love is to build up a community group that's interested in this. So if anybody is listening to this on a recording or right now and is interested in helping spearhead that, I think if we had a core group of volunteers that are interested in cleaning up and helping do these kind of things, it would be great. Unfortunately, my schedule is now, I just didn't have as much time as I used to develop and building that, but I support it. I'd love to see it happen.
We got that email off that person, I can't remember his name. And another person that just comes to mind, is Brian Canyor. He lives, you know where he is, he was involved doing that quite a bit when he was in Boyd West. And so I think he's probably pretty good at it. I mean, I'm like, just fair or not, he doesn't know a lot about trails and, yeah. Okay.
Would there be somebody at Friendship Gardens?
Potentially, their trails are mostly pretty nice. But James and people at Sugarland Land Trust, and I've also reached out to Save the Dunes people to try and get someone like, and Janice has a guy, that is like their person that does this.
Yes.
Save the Dunes. So I think the person that's there is going to have a connection.
And if you just need bodies at any point, you put it on the Facebook thing, you know?
Yeah.
That's the kind of, people will come out and help.
Yes.
You don't need expertise if you just need people there.
Yeah. Oh, cool. My favorite is people would show up and I mean, well, I don't know.
Yeah, right, you need somebody with expertise.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's big and stuff up, and stuff up on the way, and what tools they're bringing, right? So, yes, we love some help, we worked with Brian and.
Not Brian Cantor.
Mayor, he's just been appointed to the fire commission too.
Was he? Oh, good. Yeah, he's a good guy. And I've been at it slowly, I won't, so, yeah. Okay, community centers table, landscaping at 29, I think we're about ready to wrap that guy up. So I met a contractor down there last week. It was TJ from Doing Landscaping, so he's already just a sense event, which wasn't crazy. What was it, another 600 something like that? Yeah, it wasn't much to put the fencing in. We looked at it. I would send an email to the homeowner to let him know that it's coming, to give him an opportunity to, if he wants to, whatever, rope fence instead of a split rail, there's gonna be a fence there. And he's also got, another contractor working with some stuff in his property decks and things, the contractor that we hired, and he stops. So he may ask if Freddie Woods wants to do the fence and design it a different way, as long as it is a permanent fence, which is within code, and it's in the right spot, and it's a fence. That demarks the property and find it. Because there were an awful lot of property back there that's ours.
So we should, probably hold on and get a permit then, to figure out who's actually gonna.
Agree.
Do the fence.
So we need to spell out exactly where it's gonna sit, how far away. So one of the things I gotta get is get to the building commission and ask what the easement is from, how far can the fence be from the property? It's different on Lake Shore Drive than it's back in other areas of town. It's close, like it's really close. It can be like 6 inches away or something from the property. So I'll get them to push out and then people on the committee. So that'll happen pretty soon. And I was also gonna hold on that because the same landscaping company is gonna bid the boardwalk. And it's gonna do one, you might as well do both at the same time. So that's a possibility as well. And while we're talking about the boardwalk, it is getting really rough. That needs to happen. I don't think we can push that off any longer. The boardwalk at 29, there's a ton of wood on the top until you get down to the aluminum. And people, we've just been replacing, TJ's been replacing wood every year. And yeah, some of them still feel soft. It's just a matter of time for somebody to put them down.
I stepped through one on our first two of up there.
Yeah,
I mean, I agree.
so I have TJ giving me an estimate and I have, Solwood Mechanical giving me an estimate. Solwood has done stop 28, stop 19. I don't remember one, but he's done many of our stops in Long Beach. He's the one who put the aluminum boardwalk in 29 that we have today. So he was thinking that our budget is gonna be probably a little low based on the amount of work, stop 28 back in the day was $44,000, I think, and it's about that kind of a run, really. So we shall see what we get. I don't think we have much of a choice. We're gonna have to do it and move some things around and just get it done. And then the other thing that I'm adding to both of the quotes as an option, to just depending on how they come in. is that landing at the base that's gonna go off to the right, so it'll be level with the bottom, when you get to the bottom of that, means so you can go over them. You can just step off to the right and have a nice 6x8 viewing platform, to watch the sunset and be perfect. There's nothing blocking you, to the city shop right there. That'll it'll be nice. And then also we put some store, you know, if they bring stuff down, I can put it over there. But that's a stop if you leave things on top because of the stairs, but it's a spot. So I should have quotes back pretty quickly on that. Once we get them, y'all see them, you agree what we're gonna do, we'll get a permit to do the fence, and we'll get a permit to do the boardwalk, and we'll place the boardwalk. If we get in, I'm gonna suggest if we get too far into the summer on that one, that we wait and do it in the fall. Because it'll have to stop, I should for 2 weeks.
Yeah, did you get any idea, talking to them, how long it'll take to actually do
A
work?
couple of weeks. Yeah, a couple of weeks, depending on whether and how many people have to prove it up, but it's one of the things I said is it needs to happen quickly. If we do it, if we still have time now, but we'll still kind of, if we could get it done, if they could put crews on it quickly.
Yeah, if they can do it before Memorial Day, or if not,
Yeah, so, yeah, that's what, and I think it'll last us the year.
Hey, Zach, the fence is still 6 inches, even for Lakeshore Drive, it's still the same.
Okay, thank you. And there's a stake still there in the corner. I can show you if you're over down there. The stake is sitting like in some trees and junk, like right there. And so if they go 6 inches off of that, the fence is literally going to go kind of through some trees. So we'll push it away from the property line just a little bit. It's not block trees, and that's what trees. We could argue with them again for months about 2 trees or just like it. So we got 99.9% of that space we wanted. It's got green grass planted all over here. I think that's gonna come out with the rooms. So. All right. Any other questions on stuff coming out? Because that'll be the biggest project we have this year, capital wise. All right, let's talk tennis courts.
Okay, do we have a internet connection here that nobody that I happen to have access to be able to have? Somebody sent me a quote just now, but it hasn't come through.
Oh, let's not do that. Yeah, if we can do that later, but I want to just
Okay.
pop it up on you first, you know?
Basically, I have met with, 2 in person and a third one is communicating back and forth. First one was with the V3 company, and they are a landscaping company, and they were doing the course at Valparaiso. Again, what, it's like what we don't know until we get into it, and we realize there's a lot of questions that I have is, that we all are familiar with, but when we were looking at it, the shelter is, even if you push back, I'm going back to Zach, between Zach about stacking north and south, or what that would involve is getting rid of, moving the electric, which we never had a problem, but that's in the way. And then when I said, oh, well, we're just gonna push it back further, so it doesn't affect the shelter, then it affected all like 4 trees or something that are there. So I didn't know if we really wanted to take down 4 trees, which kind of creates some of the ambiance for garden, you know, that the garden club was done. So that was one issue. The other one was that there wasn't room, you know, for the shelter there, that there's not 10 feet between the end of the tennis court and where the shelter, with a cement concrete base rather than asphalt. So these are questions that were coming up on it. No one really recommended putting in pickleball in that area due to that, because when we pushed it back, and it got back into the golf course, most of the people were looking at Google Earth if they didn't come out. And I had something, so that was one issue.
So here, let me suggest something that's gonna make this a lot easier for everybody. The very first thing that we need to do is have an architect draw out option 1 and option 2. Option 1 being is to replace the course we have today, and option 2.
Yeah, I had an estimate of that.
And then what we do then is we give architectural drawings to the people that are quoting, and we say, this is what it's gonna be. Don't worry about the trees, don't worry about, where you're gonna put it. What are you gonna do? We can do what we have, or we're gonna have to decide. And then that'll be our decision. That's part of the decision, what the council would say. We want to put the ball in, so much interest in the town, so we're limiting X amount of trees.
Well,
You know,
like anything, when you, not knowing the background that we all have, and what's been discussed over the years, it's hard to do anything. If, couple of questions came up, I go over, you can see them right now, but it became, first of all, in this area, we could put 6 pickleball courts in here, where the tennis courts are. And then I didn't know, I think, I don't know if I talked to Cindy about this part, but it was like looking over here, where the building is, where the golf and where the basketball court is that, there's room to do tennis there. This could be switched, he could do basketball here, but that tennis court could go there. And also we have this pad area that is got cement on it already. And I didn't know why that couldn't be used also.
I'm not sure.
Okay, this is the building, community center, basketball court is here right now.
Right.
There's room to put a tennis court here, and there's room to put a tennis court here or two, if we want it. So creating a pickleball court area that would be utilized by more people, and obviously having a shelter there, and then people coming to play tennis, could do it here, and they would have access either walking from this way or walking from the parking lot over here. So I just didn't know, to me, it was like, well, this is a great area in terms of how it could be better utilized, but I didn't know the history as to how that.
Have you walked over there and?
Yeah.
Where this would be?
Yeah, that's exactly,
And where's the?
how it came about is the asphalt, yeah.
Sure, that's right.
And
Is that right?
volleyball. We set that up there. Basketball.
This is the.
That's the baseball, so we don't put volleyball there. I think part of the reason why we said, we're just trying to keep the budget as reasonable as possible, just to use it as the next spot we got. I think that was the original.
Different people that the article is that whether it was tennis or pickleball, really wouldn't change the cost in here except for the additional poles. That we.
Yeah, we have to,
Two separate courts would be more. Right, one here and one here.
Well, this would be replacing what we have, whatever we want, yes, whether we want to maximize and get pickleball is really that more, much more popular, making 6 of them right there. And then, creating, and it doesn't have to be all done at once, but just looking at the better use of space. Since this is the community park for Long Beach, what are we could develop. USTA, which is the Wetlands Association. I have not had a chance to look into that. And very likely there could be something that would be available through the US Pickleball Association as well. But we have to see. But based on the fact of not looking like we could just put in the south to pickleball where it's dedicated, that's why the discussion is, in this direction of better utilizing space. So one example that Shai Netherly gave was, he was saying that they were working with Mishawaka on their courts, and they were doing pickleball and tennis, and then they were coming back in and changing to all pickleball.
Yeah, they do all the balls.
Yeah.
yeah, but we're not doing.
But we have other, I'm sorry, Mishawaka has, we love their still, but Mishawaka has other works.
Yeah.
So.
So
We don't have that.
and make sure we're on the same page. Because let's say this is the original
That's good.
tennis courts right now. Let's say there's 2 courts.
It's kind of like there. It's kind of like the original.
Is this the same size as what's there now?
Yeah.
Okay. So the thinking is to have two pickleball courts this way. One like that, and one like that.
And we know we would have,
Things that happen, so
and we know we would have to live with
But that's,
in order to do that.
that is not, when it's right, because there's too much stuff there. They have to be going this way. They have to be lined up this way because
Particular.
you have,
That's
you know, that like thing there, which you can imagine, inside the costume move and the, little pavilion thing. So-
But we do have enough space to run a perpendicular.
It looks like it from eyeballing it, they will do some trees.
Right.
But you could have the two full-size tennis courts where they are now, two dedicated pickleball courts going out this way. And then the pavilion back. And then we had a decision of do you make one tennis
Yeah.
court,
when we're
just
lines.
pure tennis court markings, the other combo that you have potentially four pickleball courts to use.
And, the one fellow who I talked with the second day, I think that's what I called you, Cindy, for a quick question, was that either doing the lines on the courts is not an expense.
No.
That he said, whether you want tennis or tennis and pickleball, that's relatively not a big deal.
Sure.
It's basically, the asphalt from that and doing the survey. So we did look at that. I mean, we looked at everything, because he brought a measuring thing, for the courts. And we even looked at that, and there was some issue doing it that way as well. And I don't know if it was maybe the land was a different, something like that.
I don't know, that was the second option we originally had. So I would just be curious to know what is it that prevents this from walking over there. I know it's.
So here's where, having a shade gallery, that was another option where they could put the courts too. If they did tennis, they're beginning 6, pickleball and 2 tennis courts there.
My question is, do we really have to have 2 tennis courts? I mean, should we do a survey or?
Yeah,
I mean, I just think there's so much more pickleball. I play both, but I think there's so much more pickleball than tennis being played. That I don't know if there'd be that big of a problem with one dedicated, one tennis court and the rest pickleball. I mean, should we, find out the answer to that?
Maddie, you made the decision to keep listening to us. That's on you, but since you're still here, do you guys use both tennis courts during the tennis?
Well, of course they would if they're there. The question is, if there was one court, could you still have the tennis kit?
And or is there, I know. well,
So
maybe not.
they do use both courts, but honestly, they use both just because we have it reserved for that time. But I mean, realistically, they probably could do it on one if we absolutely needed to.
and I would also put more popular with them.
Right, they can teach pickleball too.
Is it easy?
And
We'll say the kids always ask about the line, so I'm sure if we taught them pickleball too, they wouldn't be upset about it.
Thank you.
And just recently, I've been to tennis lessons with my grandkids and they use one court for a group of kids to teach them. I don't think
Yeah,
that's no problem.
exercises.
Okay.
Also,
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, there's a delay. I was just going to say, I would caution you guys from sending out any sort of survey. I mean, that's just not a fair representation, because what usually will happen is everybody who plays pickleball will say more, and people will then say, I didn't know about it or whatever. I just think that you guys will make the right decision, and the park board and the town council or whatever, elected and in those positions to make those. I would just caution you from sending out any sort of surveys. They're just usually not, there's no way to make sure everybody gets a fair vote. Somebody's going to have a complaint that drags on the process. And then basically we're never going to be able to satisfy the pickleball needs. I mean, we're only a town of 1,600 homes, and people come from LaPorte all over to play wherever there's an open court. So we could build 20 courts and still there wouldn't be enough. So I just think it is what it is, but that's just my 2 cents. I don't think sending out surveys do anything, but unless there's a way to make it like a referendum on a vote and you can get everybody's opinion, it's just, I think you guys just make the decision and go with that. And then you'll be able to move forward a lot faster.
My feeling was that I came in neutral, you know, I played tennis, I haven't played pickleball, and I was concerned because I know you were pickleball, you, Cindy. And after talking to these 3 different companies so far, it's been educational just to understand what they've been experiencing, different sizes of communities. And basically, I always knew very much about, you know, all the seniors, you know, that were playing pickleball, and they're really popular. But it is becoming a family sport because younger children can play it more easily. And I think it could be a timing thing where we're going to see more families and children, perhaps the schools, and there's a lot of Olympics, you know, doing pickleball. So again, to me, it's always trying to maximize what we have for the use of most age groups. And that's where I started kind of leaning more towards maximizing that area over there for pickleball and then maybe doing the one tennis court in the other area. But we can still also,
That's bigger than that.
you know, we have to, you know, look at doing the lines and then we still in terms.
Into, sorry, this is bigger than this. So they're adding room. It's not like they're putting 6 pickleball courts in the same space,
Well,
unless it's not the scale, which is possible.
no, it's not, it's probably not the scale. It should be pretty close, but this has 4 and this has 6. That's the difference.
Right, but that's the same as a bigger piece of land than this square.
Yes, but I can't answer. I think they thought maybe there was more room there on this side.
Well,
And there
yeah,
could be-
excuse me.
So I think our original thinking was that if we did everything in one spot, it would be less expensive, you know, do something here and then over here.
Right.
So
Even if we just put one more court, a dedicated pickleball court.
yeah, so like, we could figure out what's the footprint of the space we have and then say, okay, how could you fit at least one tennis court and how many pickleball courts in here?
Well, that's you know, and I know who was here from the garden club and saying she was gonna talk to Mark to see, because they're gonna do another surveys.
Yeah, that's a very long term. That's
Well,
I'm saying ask a company like Shack Haggard or an architect to say, hey, this is the footprint we have available. With at least one tennis court, how many pickleball courts can you fit in here using your architectural genius or whatever?
One problem that they had in Google Earth, because that's like a Chuck Hatter was using, is the trees, that they can't really see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trees.
So we can have some about, I don't know what we have in budget. I think we can afford to pay it further. We could definitely someone to do like an on-site study or.
If somebody, a proper survey was done a couple of years ago, which is how we found out we had a property when we thought we did. So that survey is with the town's coming. So we can get that, and we can give that to our architect.
Yeah.
I think Joy has that survey, okay, I picture of somebody else.
Yeah.
So that's available. If we disrupt a tennis court, like if we get the 6 option, we would definitely have to go to Dennis somewhere. So that could involve another $150,000 over here, so.
Right. What's resistance? I mean, just walking around, we were looking for other places to do this before. It just didn't seem that there was much of it. Maybe there is.
And there's other things happening. The ball is here. Okay. And that does get used, so I don't want to lose that. We can't lose the basketball court, and we don't want to put the ball up against the town center. So there's a whole bunch of stuff to consider. I don't think it's long down by having so many options, like we just don't do
What is the
anything.
scat for?
I think that's country club, so.
They have sand sitting there for the bunkers and stuff.
Okay, so that is their property?
I believe this.
Well, that's what it'd be good to find out. That is because you know, it's a mess.
I'm almost sure it's, mostly because of the line, but also because that's really sort of the same.
Yes. Okay, so then really the option of these two would be like in this area, like I said, it's split, this is the basketball, but this black asphalt that's right next to it, it looks like it's in good shape right now. And tennis isn't really that noisy compared to, you know, pickleball, or even basketball, noisier than tennis. Just, again, there's that option. So, I'm sorry, who gets the survey that we,
The town.
okay, get that.
Is there one of these that you feel most inclined to perhaps work with to get?
Well, I have to think back, because I don't know this, you know.
Yeah, I mean, just personally, your feeling about.
Well, my feeling was after spending an hour with the fellow, going, can't do it here, can't do it here, you really want to get all these trees, not enough from back here. He went over and said, well, you know, it's easier to get a discount rate, you know, the more I can do, do you need anything, you know, we'll provide it with the basketball. And I said, you know, we walked over there and that's when we were, oh my God, there's this whole area here for another tennis court. And that's when something came up of maybe nicer to do pickleball here and get tennis away from the pickleball people.
Were you asking Margaret which company?
Yeah.
So if you think try which.
Pretty walking around.
We just pick one and say, help us figure out,
When
don't bid it out.
Open box with an asphalt. He was recommended by Sportsmaster. And his name is Brian Katz, and he's the one who came with the measuring thing. And we walked over here and checked, you know, this area here. So he kind of owned it. The fellow from DE was, we don't think there's room to, she didn't think there was room to do the stacked, dedicated pickleball. But it was kind of, you know, we can do, you know, we can do it all, you know, one-stop shop. But you need to kind of tell us what you want.
Right,
And
and then these guys just do.
and then these guys did a lot of work and they did money all that's into all the, and then it's. This one was from, which I have, we fellows are, we did Valparaiso, who said, let me know what you wanted and we can get, estimates and things of that info. So the guy from, Sean Henry was saying all the pickleball courts, 4 courts with the padlock in between, that's what they decided. 2 similar tennis courts, but the cost of the 4 courts would be similar to 2 tennis courts. But there would be additional netting and fencing required with the posts. Now, they thought the range, and I still don't understand this, was 430 to 480 lighting that included. Lighting for 4 courts would be approximately 80 to 100. Now, again, someone else told me that we'd rather still use the poles and we could just maybe put a retrofit and put LED lighting on there. And that would be less costly than if we got to do all poles and lights. We could see what retrofitting the existing poles with new lights would be, need more information, because I brought them to them. Phase 2 would be a single new tennis court in the middle of the site, assuming not a lot of earthwork was required. That would be like the one right at basketball. Cost rating of 220 to 260, lighting not included, and there is some lights going in the two. And then it was going to do to get, if you wanted like the rendering, then Zach had mentioned that it would be about 9,500 for one, maybe I'll see this, for them to complete. And that would be official proposal for this work for approval by the council if the scope and the fees accepted. And that's.
But you can't use that information to go to our quotes. That's the issue that.
Right.
That'd be a quote.
What, usually what we're going for quotes, we're going out for bids. B3 company said that basically they're the one-stop shop, you know, they're the ones doing Valparaiso and Mishawaka, that basically they would put together the bids of what was required. Because some of the companies didn't necessarily do fencing, and so they would do the court, but they wouldn't necessarily do the fencing or to remove the front to have access to get the asphalt, they to break up what's out there and use to get it out. And also they may not do the lighting. So they would do the courts and then they would do a subcontract. The companies like, the bigger companies like Shea Hatterley, Harry and B3 could do the whole project and would manage the project. So it depends on. But I know when Cindy was into Michiana, they use an asphalt company. And
Yeah, they use different things and, as in the message I sent yesterday, they, in hindsight, they said that was a mistake, that probably compromised the integrity of the courts. They had trouble, they've already had to resurface them with the cracks, and because of the pitch that you need for pickleball is different than tennis, that you really need somebody that knows the whole thing, that, you know, so they would recommend doing it, if they were to do it again, they would do a one-stop shop type of thing that would know exactly how to do all of it.
My only concern looking at this is the numbers that you're talking about are almost 4 times what we had talked about originally. We're just going to kind of replace it as it is now and redo it. And then we had the idea of, well, hey, we're going to expand a little bit.
Yes.
In pickleball courts, I feel like we're getting a little scope creep. It's just getting bigger and bigger. That's my concern. If it gets too big, it's not gonna happen.
That initial drawing from John Anderson from Art, you know, with what his plan was and Google Map, I just resent it to the 4 of you, just to, you know, throw that back into the mix. And that was the one dedicated course in 4 pickleball going the same direction next to the one tennis court with all the measurements and everything. So I'm not sure how that would pan out with, you know, the shelter and all those things, but at least that gives you something to throw in the mix too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love these ideas, but I just feel like it's gonna be so expensive, we'll never get it. So,
Well, the asphalt company, obviously, he was, you know, in fact, he's the one I was trying to get the email over because it didn't come through. But he's saying the asphalt is $450 a square foot. Because he was saying, I'll give you the cost per square foot, well, a single tennis court, for removal and replacement of the court asphalt. So $450 square foot for the removal and replacement of the court asphalt. So for the other single tennis court, it would be $32,400 for the asphalt. And $15,000 for sports surface, which is the finish. So we're at $47,000, and $2,500 for the netting. If you have to double the netting for pickleball versus tennis. So right now, then we're looking to get it that it's, that's a second there.
so those are.
I know, and that's why I got the new first, you know, so when I saw.
That's just replacing what we have. That's just replacing what we have in place today.
That is, so this is for a single, the 32 that's for a single that you got moved.
Still.
It's the 54,000 is new asphalt, that might be for the,
Yeah, it's got confusing. This is the,
yeah.
so we need to decide what we want to do.
Right.
Then we need to have somebody draw the options of what we want to do, quote, trees or no trees, whatever. That's what we need to do.
Well, but you're gonna have to figure in the cost of taking down the trees.
Yeah, that's for sure.
That's gonna be cheap. And again, I think what, again, depending on who you're talking to, first of all, they were saying better to bid this out in November for the very first of the year because you'll get better pricing than we will now when you're crazy busy. And the other thing was, I think, Michelle, we were talking about the topographic survey, soil borings, if you're going into the area, like those 2 on the side, you have to see about the soil borings, and then the site study that they could provide, you know, this is the rendering. But I think the topographic survey, that's kind of like a site, it's a matter of site survey. But the soil borings, I thought, oh, I didn't think about that one.
Yeah, that's what I'm keeping it where. Who's the asphalt person that you're talking to?
He's through Sports Master, that's what they.
Oh, okay. And what's the?
Right, yeah, AATZ.
I just want to chime in with one quick thing too. Once we hit a certain threshold of spend, I think it's like 200,000. It has to be publicly bidded out with like a whole process that's formal, and you need 3 quotes and they have to be open publicly, and it's a whole thing. So, I agree with like, I can pretty much hear Paul and Zach because I think the microphones aren't on for Margaret and Elena, but anyway, I think I'm getting the gist of it, but I just wanted to just throw that out there too, that it does become, the larger the project gets in spend, the harder it is to kind of finish it or facilitate, because you need to get, it opens up a whole threshold of money. I forget, I think it is like 250,000 that you need to get 3 bids and open them publicly and put it in the newspaper and request bids and all that stuff. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, that's what B3 Doug would do, and mention that, and also Shai Gatter as well. The other fella, I don't know that he's done it on that level like the other two companies.
Look, in my experience, the way these kind of things work is you would pay someone to do a design, figure out the design,
Right.
and say, this is what we want. And then we take that design, which we've all agreed on, that it's very clear, and give that to these 3 companies to bid out, because that way you have the best chance of getting apples to apples.
That's what they would do.
Yeah.
Yes, but I could not give them that direct
Sure.
information.
But I don't really area. Who's the company that we're going to use to create the design first?
Well, again, we can use anybody, but both B3, who's doing Valparaiso, and Mishawaka, and other ones, Shai Henry, all of them can do it. Because they are one-stop shops that do all this, they know how to put out the bids and the notices in the papers, and, but they.
Yeah, that's not what Paul's asking. That's not what Paul's asking. Yeah, I'm just saying.
They look to the website. They look, once we know what we want and that it can fit in, they will come out and make sure it can fit, and then they will do a rendering, for, and I've got samples of lots of things. This is what, B3 did for Valpos. This is what they would do, something like that,
Yes.
they would create, and they would be able to do a bid.
There should be a site plan. Yes, this is what we need. These drawings are what we need from either D3 or somebody. So maybe for our next step, can we see what they would charge to give us these drawings?
They, if we hire them to oversee the project.
We're not just.
Well, then Shai Hatter, he was saying that was like 9,500.
Okay.
But I did not, I called him, but he didn't get back to me,
Okay.
to tell me what.
Let's wait to hear back, and then we can fit these. This is exactly what we need. This looks good. So maybe let's get a quote from each of them. And then we'll pick one, and then we'll get to this.
Change the questions you want, the one of changing.
Okay.
And one of them not.
And what's this company?
They were.
Oh, that, okay. Gotcha.
So he's pretty great.
Yeah.
And I've got so many of those. This is from. Yeah, this is from B3.
Okay, so who do we want to have do these?
The guy is most from.
Design site.
So next step, we'll get a quote from B3 just to do these drawings, like literally these 2 drawings that we need. We have a quote from Checker, we get a quote from B3, and that'll be our next step, is to figure out what those costs will be, and then we can pick one and have them be just for the drawings. Yep, yeah, not just the drawings. Yeah, I think that,
Well, we're talking about these type drawings.
Yes.
To.
yeah, really, site sale,
Landscape.
site plan, show the paths and the trees have to come out and all that, and then.
We start having it.
Yeah.
It's part of the process.
If they took it for 95 minutes, not a lot of me for doing this level. This is like in the little details and that.
Yeah, right,
So because even if we only replace the court as it is today, and we keep the tennis and keep pickleball and split it, blah, blah, blah. We still need that, to redo the courts we have today. So we're not wasting a lot of money, we're just adding a little bit more, detail.
Right.
but before we can do this, we still need, do not to have a look at the survey. And then the next question is gonna be, well, you're talking about price, but there's stuff that I asked, do you want pickleball there or do you want tennis there? I mean, that's part of what you're seeing.
What I would tell them both is we have this much land, we get the survey and say, this is our footprint. We want to go for a design that will maximize the number of pickleball courts we can get one tennis court in this footprint.
Okay, so like what they did in the job.
To get-
That is part of only good.
Exactly. Given the footprint that we have, which you can find out in the survey, you can give them the survey and they can look at that.
And I'm saying that at some point in this process, we're gonna get people screaming that we're taking a test away.
Well, that's why, you know, and I mentioned this in the conversation that I had with all of them, is that I look at it as what we do now, maybe what we do now, but we should be looking at what phase two might be. We had talked about a master plan last month, you know, and I think that might be part of it, is better utilization of this area going forward, you know, or the area over here that you were, driving, but that one company drew. It doesn't, budget wise can be when you deal with what we can deal with now, but let's consider with what decisions we make now, how that could impact stage two or.
Yeah, I agree with that part. I don't hear a lot of upset people that were wheeling around pickleball nets on the one side and using the other side as tennis court. I don't hear it. Maybe, you know, maybe they do when I still hear it, they don't come here and tell us that they're.
I had asked about the tennis, because I think you had said, did you mention that they're on wheels and?
Yeah, discuss that. But
Well, being that he said that there was concern with people when they're moving the pickleball nets, that sometimes they're getting knocked over.
Oh, yeah.
And that's in
They get trashed because you know, that's a trouble of those nets. They're really for indoor use, moving across the gym floor versus outside in the weathers, people dragging them and, you know, it's really not ideal for sure. They have those types of nets. On the wheels would be better, but still, those are more expensive and, you know, I don't know how much longer they'll last. You know, that's remains to be seen, but, you know, I think that the ideal thing is for the amount of money we're spending, you want to have the maximum utilization as possible. Which to me, any type of life is supposed to, you know, so. But I think it's great to have tennis too, you know.
yeah, I mean, I'm open to discussion. If we could expand that whole thing slightly and then up a 4 ball courts and 1 tennis court, maybe that's the answer. And we're not, you know, but.
Or we got 2 tennis courts and 2 extra ball courts.
So like we said, yeah, so I just, you know, I think we need to bring this architect in and we decided the architects to be, we all sit down and with the architect
Yeah.
out there at the pavilion.
Yes, that's
And we
right.
decide with this person, regardless of how many trees we're gonna cut down, this is what we would like to have. And he's gonna agree that building it in one spot versus having one over there, one over here is gonna be 50% cheaper. Then, again, yeah, plan B might be doing something over there. I think there's a lot of space over there. But there's other things to consider about being over there too. But if we don't keep this simple enough to where we're gonna do something next year, we're not gonna do anything next year. Right? That's what I would.
But no, they can, like I said, he doesn't think it should go out to bid until like late fall to get better pricing. And I don't know if that'll change.
Yeah, all these guys are gonna get super busy doing what.
They're busy
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
They're busy.
right.
And honestly, it might take that long just to get this all picked out before we're ready. So I'm surprised that's what we're.
I think that the kind of summary from talking with them is that they ideally, you know, they can do it, they've done it all, you know, whether it's pickleball or tennis and
Yeah.
different ways of laying it out, and there's millions of samples, you know, here showing the netting and all that, but it's a case of what our survey shows because if you have to add more soil, and the soil borings are found, that's advanced to the cost of data.
Sure.
Also, I once mentioned doing 2 inches of asphalt. They even asked if that was concrete, or if those were asphalt, and you didn't want to wreck the coating that was on the courts already. I assumed it was asphalt. Asphalt courts.
Yeah.
Okay, because that's less expensive to tear out than it were concrete. So these are all the questions that they need to know to be able to kind of determine. And then also the groundwater runoff, you know, where is it running off? They need to know that because there's a golf course there. there's, what we have already. And so that's another,
That's all the stuff they're gonna figure out for the $500.
Right.
So
That's
that's,
we get quote from B3, and then between Chapel and B3, we're gonna pick whoever's gonna do our own.
okay,
That's, that's that one.
then we'll worry about it.
Yeah,
Whatever.
all right, Norm Renner said he could come to the meeting today, Department of Tennis World's monitoring this up now, he would like us to buy nice little roll around nets for the courts, they're $500 a piece. I would suggest we buy 2 of them for the left side of the tennis courts, and for the 2 pickleball courts, and see how those will level the course system. All right, is everybody okay with that? And while we're doing that, we'll buy the,
I did check for when, it wasn't Kayla at that time, it was somebody else, but she took care of it.
Renee.
Yeah, great, yeah.
Okay. I'll take that up, I'll figure out who in the town have tax exempt, ability to buy those, might just be calmed off, I'll get that one.
who we buy?
And probably Kayla,
It can,
Yeah.
Amazon sells and
yeah.
Amazon. I've got the brand and everything, and Amazon sells.
Yeah, I think that easy answer.
Yeah.
Who we buy it?
Some company that Norm Sense that make, so it's a roll mix.
Yeah, they're just,
It's an improvement roll, yeah.
yeah,
Hopefully they won't break.
they might get exactly the goals, hopefully they'll come up a little bit better, they're still made for the end of the but we've actually set them and quote that they're made for outdoor and indoor. Yeah, maybe the whole lot better. That they'll be used well worth what they're being paid for, so.
I'm sorry, I don't really understand.
They're the same portable nets for pickleball, but they're on wheels, so they potentially wouldn't be, as damaged in moving them.
Instead of dragging across the park, it will.
And we have problems with that.
Yeah, I thought we did, all you guys have to email.
Yeah, it's not pulling up the image right now.
It's okay, it's pretty simple.
Yeah. And
Yeah, they're nice, the ones we have are nice, just not, they're gonna get torn up.
Yeah, it's
well,
like,
people need to carry them, not drag them.
Yeah, it doesn't happen. Interesting.
All right, where else? Let's do this here.
It's not playing up.
Well, we have, this is the new. Did you hear it?
Yeah, talk about the boardwalk, talk about tennis courts, I have 2 new topics. But is budget part of the business or?
No, we can take that out. I handed that out to you guys. The actuals in 2024, 2025 is very similar. So, no surprises.
Okay,
I did have one thing also. The big,
slide 8. Yeah, that should take more than 30 seconds. So, real quick, EVP program, which is the volleyball program. Kendra, you know more about this than I do. We've been doing this for the last, 3-4 years with Paulman. He wants to continue that. I saw an email from Meg Collins today asking me for the signatures and the contract from last year, which I happen to have. I sent her those, so she's got them. If he wants to do that again next year, that's a real simple thing, right? He does
Yep.
lessons for football, sign up for it, town gets 20% of whatever the fees are to bowling, right?
Yep. It's been a pretty great relationship, I think. Lots of kids, for anyone, well, Margaret knows volleyball amongst girls is like the thing. So they've had full signups for, and I think would be maybe the 3rd year going now. So the first year, I think he had about, I can't remember, he does like 3 different age groups or whatever. And every year it's more and more people sign up as they realize it's available. So it's been a great thing. I think Ross is he runs all the volleyball programs for like Oak Street Beach in Chicago and a bunch of different park districts. So yeah, we get 20% back of the revenue. It's a pretty seamless process. We worked it out a couple years ago. So yeah, I would say definitely continue with that. It's been definitely well received with the kids in the town and stuff. So yeah, any questions, let me know, but
Correctly, because I mean, I signed that paperwork last year and that's the last I did it. I didn't do anything else with it all year. Is somebody, did you manage with them or do something with them? Because I don't remember even getting.
oh, you know what? Only I'm on my phone. If Maddie is still on, I think she is. Maddie, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, so I'll talk with you offline because the only thing that was different or that what we do is you just help promote it on your Facebook page or your summer camp page. And so I can hook Ross up with you and he'll work you through how we did that in the past. But that's basically just the 20%. He does all the heavy lifting. And we just help promote it, get the word out, let people know they can come into the town center and whatever, pick up a form or ask the questions. We just help promote it for him. So I'll hook up with you offline and get you in touch with Ross to get that situated. And then you just, like I said, help promote it, get the word out. But he handles all the money and stuff like that. And then in the end, we get 20% back.
I remember Sarah talking about that last year.
Yeah.
I didn't follow up with Kendra and see if we at the town got paid last year, because I wouldn't know. I didn't see anything if we did.
Yeah, we got the reciprocal check. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What is his last name?
Ballin. BALLIN.
So do they play at our park?
Yeah, and we're here.
So it's not in gymnasium.
Correct. Okay, this last time, I just might take a second, but we need to start talking about it, because it's coming up soon, art in the park. And I think, is that why you're here today?
No.
No?
But, right.
Yes, so we've been helping Bill in the park ever since it was initiated. I think Sue Keenan is still the one that's running it. So we just haven't even opened discussions yet about it, I think, this year. So we just need to know what dates she's thinking.
6, I think, is that last Saturday in July.
July 26th.
Check. Yeah,
Okay.
Saturday, July 26th.
And I've never been the liaison with her. It was Joy, and then it was Nita, and then last year, it wasn't last year, it was you last year. So like, so if you can help us with what that entails, and only to get somebody in this room that's gonna be the liaison between us and the city, because we bring food trucks in and we.
Yeah, I didn't have some other materials to run, but, Velco Velvet, comes with their ice cream truck, and we allow the park board gives them $1,500, and they distribute that amount of ice cream, and instead of coming up with additional money, I cut it off $1,500 last year, and it worked out fine. It was, they did single scoops and it lasted a day. But rather than have it at the tennis courts, I would suggest having it by the community center. There's electricity at the back of that building, and if they could park down there, I think it would help the flow, because I think a lot of people playing football and tennis for getting ice cream, and they weren't necessarily checking out our food truck. So it would kind of help get people through the park. And then the food vendor canceled last year at the last minute, so if we want to get Pepe's Tacos or whatever, that would have to be secured. And then the big thing is Sue just wanted the green light to start sending out letters to the vendors. She has a list from the years of people that are participating, just to let them know that it was going to happen. And then any money other than expenses for the Beecher, or last year we paid Johnny B to perform there, then I think it was about $1,000 that they handed over to the town for the park board. So
I can't, what was the fee that we charged the,
what?
was there an exhibit fee?
Yes, I think it was $25, and if you want a table, that's extra.
Yeah, it's not much.
No, it's not much, it's reasonable.
Definitely not a race for that at all. It's just a community involved thing. And it's kind of bigger and bigger every year. It's kind of a cool thing, really. So I just want to make sure we keep the momentum, and whatever we need to do, Sue's gonna have to remind us what that is, because nobody here is involved.
Well, she gave me notes on.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so July 26th up, so we got on calendar. All right, and then you had your sign topic.
Biggest topic of the evening, the parking sign at Rose Park needs to be replaced. It's currently brown.
So, you know,
It's currently brown.
I just saw it yesterday.
I sent you a picture.
It's
Yeah.
blue. I walked by and looked at it yesterday to see how bad it looked. It's blue.
It's like the last picture.
It's navy. In real life, it's navy.
That's blue, I mean,
I'm telling you, I just looked at it yesterday.
I would call
it's not round.
I think you're.
I think it used to be brown. I think it's faded to purple.
Well, anyway.
Kendra, were you involved in this sign? Oh, even she's. So the question is, the chief, got a quote, make a new one. He had them draw in blue, which is a nice color for a beachfront community. I prefer the darker brown because I feel like it blends in better with what is a neighborhood park in most houses. I don't really care. I know where you stand, but
I don't really care. I guess my only question is, do you want to blend in? And so people
Yeah.
don't pay
it
attention.
doesn't only applies to people who are parking. Yeah, it doesn't apply to anybody else in the park.
There's new spots, right?
Yeah. So why force everybody, there's attention to be drawn to that as they're passing by, and only applies to people parking there who will see it right in front.
You know, I
You don't see it until you pull in the parking spot anyway.
I don't,
officially couldn't care less.
Dark brown, just do dark brown, dark brown.
okay, one,
That's,
staying one brown, one brown.
I know notorious that people don't read signs. You can make it as like a billboard sign and they don't see it because they're focused on, the environment, that's the wrong thing.
Okay, here you go, major objections. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think it's a good time, it's just worn out. Okay, agreed. We didn't even have to vote.
All right,
But
is that the last new topic? Anybody else have a topic? So our longest meeting in a long time. Oh, it's good. Any public comments from Maddie or from Cindy? No? All right. Well, the motion to adjourn.
Can we walk over there and look at that area?
I can walk over there.
Okay.
I'll make a vote, we adjourn.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thanks, Maddie.